Oh my goodness, I'm so glad to be here again. It feels like we just had this amazing conversation. As you may recall, Omar has been with us before, and today we are continue because we talk regularly, continue about this great topic of men and how what's happening, what patterns are coming up, and the work that he's doing in the world. So before we dive really, really deep, can you remind us again a little bit about who you are, where you've been, and what's happening?
Of course, naturally. Thank you, as always, for being on the platform. And it's always those little things that you may say that help people. And that's one of the reasons why we do the things that we do. So, we are the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. We're located in North Bergen, New Jersey. We have a private practice, me and my wife here. We do many things. Our staple seems to be the breath work with the ice plunge because it taps into the stillness of your essence with the breath, and then the ice pushes you into the present moment. We spend so much time thinking about what happened to us or what we're going to do. So that seems to be our staple. And we have all sorts of different ceremonies that help people on a holistic level, whoever's open to that. We just recently had a cacao ceremony. We were a crew of 9. Oh my God, we could talk about that one all day. It was so healing, and people opened up, dropped in, and then they left like, wow, man, I feel great. Things are pushing on me and pressures, but I don't feel that thing before, and I'm handling them and tackling them the way I should. So that's super powerful. We have many other things that are going on, different events that we could always talk about. But, I'm a magnetic leader of men and people in general, right? Because people just seem to be levitating towards some of the things that I do. And just like yourself, sister, I'm stepping into that power. This society that we live in, like to put us in a box and a label and all of those things and push us into these cities overcrowded with hyperstimulation, right? But we need to get back to the old ways, back to the village, the wise man sitting by the fire, speaking about the stories and things that have helped us. So that's what we're doing.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for reminding us. Last time you were here, you gave us kind of like a background on where you've been, your evolution, and how you got to where you are today. So we're gonna make sure to link that conversation because it was so powerful. So today I wanted to do like almost like a second part about that and just talk about. I know that you have been doing some successful men retreats actually in my neck of the woods, which is amazing. And I want to talk about what are you seeing as a pattern or patterns in the men that you're working with.
That's beautiful. Yes, naturally. First, I just want to say that um, there's some things that we cannot get around, right? I've been on this planet for a number of years, and there's no certificate that you could buy or no class you could take on these things. This is real life experience. So it automatically gives me the authority in some of these areas. And we need to lean into some of these things where people are walking with medicine and they need to speak about these things. So that's why I'm here and doing these things. So when it does come to men's work, there are some patterns that we've been seeing, and some of them are where men are always trying something new, but nothing works, or looking for the answers on the outside when all of them are inside, and we have to develop that inner trust. Or sometimes men are feeling behind, when everybody else is waking up and moving forward. So if that resonates with people, man, that's why we're here. We're here to tell you that you are perfect, right? Some people walking around with this thing, that's a big thing for me. You see, I've said it before. We are perfect. We don't walk around saying, oh, nobody's perfect. God doesn't make imperfect things. So we're perfectly imperfect and we pick up things along the way. But sometimes we need a little bit of help. We all need help to let go of those things, put them down, stop carrying them. You don't even know that you're holding on to them, which is part of my story too. My old man left when I was 9 years old, and he probably checked out emotionally years before that. So when he left the house, it left a void there. And then the vacuum came in and pulled me into the streets. They were there with open arms waiting for me. We're your family. We're loyal to you. And all of that was a lie, but I didn't know at the time. So they handed me many things and I tried things. And before you know it, I was on this roller coaster ride. I didn't know how to get off. I didn't know who was driving it. I don't know where I paid my ticket. And, that's part of my journey, but I tried many things. And there was just a few things that helped me to get off the ride. And that's why I'm here to let brothers know that one of the big things that we walk around with, including myself, was, for me, it was guilt and shame. That was the big thing. Like, first of all, you step into this environment, right? Like Don Miguel Ruiz says, we're domesticated like dogs. We come in here, they tell us our religion, our God, our temple, our music, our food, our family, and all of these things. And we never question them, you see? So that's where I was indoctrinated into the system here. But one of the things it was saying was that I was guilty, that I'm a sinner. Like I'm wrong. I'm already going to a place that I'm going to do an eternal bid, not a 10-year bid or a 20. I was going to do like a forever one, and that kind of just laid on top of me and many men as well. And it perfects our performance and how we lead and show up in the world. And I'm here to tell people, and men especially, you don't have to walk around with guilt and shame, man. Let that go. Whatever happened to you, things similar has happened to me also. But we can't walk around with that thing on top of our head. We were young. We were innocent. They pushed these things upon us and they took advantages of us at that time. Now's the time to stop, to focus inward and say, hey, I don't want to have lunch with that person or dinner, but I forgive you and I love you. And chances are they did that to you too. And that's why you did it to me also. But it stops here, you know, things like
That's
that.
beautiful. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And you were, I was like, just really taking it in. One thing that you said that really stuck to me is that we have been indoctrinated, colonized. I mean, that's why there's a reason why that word is so charged. Colonizing, even the language was changed. This is why we speak this language today instead of the language of our ancestors. We're talking about not questioning how we were indoctrinated, how we were freaking colonized. How are you seeing men not questioning how they are men? How are you seeing that?
Well, I believe it all starts with the rite of passage, and this seems to be like a new buzzword that's coming through. But we're not jumping on any bandwagon or nothing like that. What we have noticed, especially with myself, with experience, is that when I was indoctrinated into this environment, excuse me, there were men, because we live in a man-leaded world. Well, I forgot the name of that. I'm sorry, it escapes me for the moment. But men are the one who are leading this.
Patriarchy?
Patriarch, right? We live in a, thank you. We live in a patriarch society. If you look, yes, women are coming up also, but they're acting like men, if you notice. You see, so that's why women are leaders in these governments because they're killers too. You see, just like men, because that's the left brain thinking. Kill, break, smash, and stuff. So we need to get back to that rite of passage where you're saying, hey, you're not a child anymore. You might do childish things because there's a process of maturity. We can't get around that. But this is the point right here, which should be around 12 or 13 years old, right? That this is why the numbers change from 12 to 13. You see, this is the point where you step into your manhood, where you're no longer that child anymore. And you need to start seeing the world in these ways, where it's responsibility and it's right thought, right action, right conduct, respect, and honor. You see, these are rare commodities that we see in the world today. But we need to be taught these things. If we were not taught, how would we know? You don't know how to create a nuclear fusion bomb, right? You just because someone had to show you the specifics of the science behind fusing things. And that's where we're at. And we're seeing that pattern right there. And it gives men a chance to say, hey, yeah, I can slow down. I didn't receive that. And what's this about? Let's, yeah, talk to me. Let me hear. And it's when they're open, because if they're not open, they're not willing to receive those things. You know?
That's so powerful. And I love what you said about women acting like men. And I think many women healers are coming up now. And it's going back to the beginning. You said it. It's like asking questions, being curious, but also embracing your nature. Women are nurturers by default. This is what we are. And we are incredible leaders when we lean into our initial nature, where it's like we don't have to be like anybody else. And I love about that what you said about men questioning, because I think we have this fallacy about you have to know everything. If you're a man and you're the leader, you don't ask questions, you don't ask for advice, you know everything. So what are you seeing happening when men lean in and they say, oh, I didn't know that, or can you show me, can you lead me?
Well, I noticed that when we bring them in these environments, because we have these men's training, I don't like to call them retreat because
Yeah,
that sounds like Cancun on the beach with
yeah,
coconut water and fanning. It's not like that,
yeah,
but it's not a hard Spartan training either. It's not like that, but it is a space where men can be vulnerable
mm,
and they need to be um, accepted in a safe environment with men
mm,
who have experience in these things. This is a
yeah.
huge, huge thing that people, especially men, need to understand, right? Because we're taught be strong and hold on and come on, suck it up and white knuckle it, But no, no, it's about letting go and being open and saying, yeah, I need help, And but my point is that it's only I find in my experience that it's only in these environments when we take men away and bring them back to nature. Right? We have a place that's up in Newport, New York. It's called the Stone Mountain Farm. You've been there, over 250 acres of land. And we go hiking and there's meditation. We sit by the fire and we do some cold mountain water plunging. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's not a competition. It's just about yourself. If you're competing, it's about the inner person that you are. So we find that when men are placed in these safe environments, they open up and they're able to say, hey, yes, what about this? And I need that. Because in these environments where we live, you would never hear that. I've rarely gotten a brother to come to me and say, hey, I need help with this, or what's your advice? Rarely, and that's scary, man. Let's rethink these things.
So as a man, I never thought about that, because women, we do that all the time. We're asking ourselves questions on a regular basis. It is safe. It has been, it's natural. It's being normalized for women, among women, and in any group, to ask questions. So, and then you said it's safe. Oh my God, that really hit me. It is safe for them to ask. So why do men need, why does it feel like it's not safe to ask questions? Like what is it going, what's going on inside if they ask a question? Are they feeling like they're gonna be shamed? Like what's happening inside?
It often goes back to the way humans used to deal with each other in the
Mm,
beginning, right? We are hunter gatherers.
yeah.
Men go hunt, women gather.
Mm,
Women sit by the fire, they knit, they sort out all the seeds and herbs, and there's always communication with them. With men, we are hunting. There's no speaking. You don't speak. Why? Because if you
mm,
do, then you're lunch. Right? You see? So we already have this in our DNA. The part that we forget, and we're at the remembering stage, that's where we're waking up because we're just remembering, is that men also sat by the fire and spoke when the hunt was over. You see?
mm,
And we sat by the fire and we communicated, and the elders spoke. Yeah, he was not a magician, or perhaps he was, right? You see? But he was that person that had more experience, who lived longer, and had the knowledge and the wisdom, right? Because knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing not to put tomatoes in a fruit salad. You see? This is where men would experience come to the fire. And that's where we bring all sorts of men of different caliber and different stages, but we're all equal when we get there. So it's that communication that we just have to remember, And then the other thing is that patriarch that you speak about. Look at all the videos, look at all the TV commercials, the man driving the fast car and breaking it and killing it, and come on, tattoos on the neck, and yeah, no, 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 man. You can't be open like that. You can't say I need help. There's nothing about that image that says, "Hey, could you help me out?" Nothing. You see, so we need to get away from that.
Yeah. So how, because I'm listening to you and I cannot not be a woman because that's what I am, right? And I'm thinking of we are natural communicators. We are talking to each other on a regular basis, all day, every day. When we're sleeping, probably we're talking and dreaming about talking, right? So how do we as women understand that men have not been naturalized to speak? How do we bridge the divide and
Mm.
come to understand, like if you notice, I haven't interrupted you because men talk slower, their thoughts take longer, right? So, and that this is an active thing that I'm doing because we are active listeners. You're just listening, you're listening, you are nodding, but you're not interrupting. Women were like, uh-huh, oh my god, yeah. And to us, that's not interrupting. So I am making an effort to not interrupt. So how are you seeing men learning to remembering that they can also speak and can also communicate with their women?
Wow, that's powerful because you get to see like the deepness of it and the dynamics that are happening between Mars and Venus, right? That's why the book was so popular is because we're different, men and women are different. In fact, there's an old ancient tale about how men and women were one unit in the past, and Zeus uh, um, um, got upset with them and threw the bolt of lightning and separated man and women. And that's why we're two units now. That's why you often hear men say, "Oh, she's my better half," so, because we're supposed to be one unit, two sides different of the same coin, you know. But there is a space that needs to be allowed for one another. It doesn't need to be all encompassing. I cannot intrude in my wife's sacred time. She needs that. That's why just recently she went to India for 9 days. I need to support that in any way, shape, or form. I take care of the kids and I have to do that. But at the same time, I also go too, you see, to these sacred, safe containers for men, you see, where we can sit by the fire and talk and share wisdom and things like that. So I think there is a matter of respecting that space when men go to do certain things. I'm not talking about the poker game because you see, this is something else. This is twisted. This is twisted. This is not, talking about, who they're seeing or what's going on. They're hiding and smoke themselves out till they pass out, and play pool and poker and all that. No, we're talking about real talk, safe places. And we have to give each other that space.
That's amazing. And I love how you're honoring the fact that we are one unit, but we're also individuals. And we both need that time to refresh and come back and nourish ourselves and then come back. So you said several times now a safe space. So as a man that holds space for sacred space for men, what qualifies for safe space for men? For men.
Hmm. The set and setting is often a big conversation when it comes to these types of environments. Sometimes they include other healing modalities and stuff like that. But the fact is that it's very important. Where are you? You see, where are you with people who love you unconditionally? Like if something comes up, and I'm telling you, they often do. I mean, these safe places that we create are places that look nice. They're aesthetically nice looking. And you're with people that you trust because it's all about trust. I trust that the people who are coming to these events and these experiences really want to help want the help and are open, and they're trusting me also that I'm providing this space and all of the other nice things like food and stuff like that. Right? So once they're in these environments, men open up. I always think about the story about this one brother. At some point in the evening when we're talking, he opened up, and I kid you not, it felt like he sucked all the air out of the room with this information so painful that he was walking around with on his chest. Oh man, we were on him right away. Energy work and smudging and and prayers and the men uplifting him and all of that. And he cried and and it was just that moment that he felt safe enough
Mm.
to share that, information that he was stating that my wife doesn't even know this. I was like, what? You have kids with her and you love her. Wow, man, like just my hairs are standing up just thinking about it. And then he came out with this thing about I've been walking around with that in my chest, man. Thank
Mm.
you so much. You helped me. You changed my life dramatically. And how he shows up in the world with his children, at his business and his financial status, everything just raise up.
Wow, that's incredible. And I love, and it feels like it's creating a space where you're gonna be met exactly where you are without judgment, where you're gonna be in a place where you can quote unquote fall apart so you can be built back up. And I feel the importance of that happening among men. Not that
Mm-hmm.
women cannot do it for a man, but I could see for a brother like that going through that, to
Mm-hmm.
be uplifted by other powerful men that are willing to be vulnerable and say, I see you, I hear you. I can only imagine the sacredness of that. And you talked about
Mm-hmm.
how he said his wife didn't even know, and you said, but you have children with her. So how are you seeing men not able to be their true selves with their spouses?
Mm, it's just the environment that we're in. We have to respond in these ways, like some of the things that you have mentioned also about just being here. Like you got to be the tough guy, you got to be leaning and suck it up and all of that. So it's all in the mind,
Mm.
right? So when you study the masters, which we've spent quite a bit of time studying this, they speak about the mind. Everything is created in your mind. The side of your head, right by your eyeballs, on the side of your skull, right? It's called the temple.
Mm.
Why? Because they
Wow.
aptly named it that. We are inside of a temple and we're the God of our own temple. See, we
Mm.
just don't realize that. We're looking outside for external things to come and help us when we need to go inward. It's all inside here. But we need to be put in these safe places, right? Because how is somebody supposed to find that at the job site? No, you're not gonna find it there, man. Or maybe you might want to go to church. Good luck. You might find those things there too. I'm not saying that you wouldn't, because it's a good possibility. Because these environments they have a lots of good in it too. But when you go away and unplug from the matrix, no phone, no computer, no laptop, no none of those things, no other people calling for your attention. Oh, could you help me with this? And go to the groceries and like it just goes on and on. So it's super helpful in this area.
Yeah, I feel like as you were talking, I was just jotting a couple of things down because earlier you said this is, I don't want to call them retreats because it's not like going to Cancun or going to the DR and you're going and party and being at the beach all the time. It's more of a ceremony. So I think we as human beings are very ceremonial individuals, and we forgot that we thrive and heal when we are in ceremony with ourselves. And yes, there are things as plant medicine and all of that, but it's also the aspect of, like you said, the temple, right? Temple, immediately I think in ceremony. I'm thinking sacred, right? So how do you see what afterwards, after the men go to this amazing, I want to call it experience, being away in nature, what is it? What are the type of transformations that you're seeing after they go to this beautiful experience?
Well, first of all, when we're there, There's workshops that are taking place. There's training going on. I mean, something as simple as hiking. I mean, you talk to some brothers or talk to people in general. When was the last time you went hiking? They'd be
Hmm.
like, "Oh, I remember when I was a kid." And we need to be in these environments. So brothers have come back saying, "Wow, just the walk alone, man. When we went hiking, I noticed the bird in the corner right there, up on the tree, perched. Like I hear it was almost talking to me. The silence was like almost deafening. Then there's the cold water plunge, and then there's the workshops too. Where we stand by certain principles, and there's certain pillars that we stand by as well. You see." So here is where the training comes in. Once they can get a grasp of this training under pressure, right? Not comfort. Because, like I said, it's not a retreat, but it's not where we're wrestling each other to the ground either. This is
Yeah.
about training. Look at the mind, look how it goes. We do yoga, we do meditation, the stillness, right? Because when you speak to God, it's prayer. When you listen to God, it's meditation.
Mm,
They separate them. It's not separate.
mm,
Stay silent. The messages come in between the words, not the words. You see, because we're like big antennas walking around. We're picking up frequency. And this is where the great things come in for men, for anyone in general, you see. So when they come back, they already come back with tools that they
mm,
ready. The tool belt. This is Batman coming in with his tool belt. He's got the rope and the gas, the spray to get the Joker away. He's ready to rock. Everything is there for him, and then we support them too with online, classes and meetings and things like that, and one-on-one sessions. They come here also to the Omziel Healing Sanctuary in North Bergen, New Jersey, and we continue. Like these relationships that we have go on for life. They
mm,
never end. You see? Because I've been to other men's gatherings and trainings before. And first of all, there was like more than 30 guys in the room. That was already tons of guys, right? All kinds of characters. And then you get to meet them, but then afterward, there was nothing. No,
mm,
nobody called me or not. No, slip right through the cracks. Or they had these other, online meetings at these absorbent, prices. I was like, man, I can't keep up to that, So these are one of the things that separate us, from other groups, because it's not unique that men are gathering in groups. There's tons. I could give you a dozen names of guys that are doing this. Some of them are quite popular too, with merchandise and all of this stuff. But what separates us from them is that we're small. It's concentrated, and that's there's purpose in that. You see, because when you go deep, you need space. Can't have like 30 guys in the room when you're feeling something like I want to say something, like, oh, I didn't say anything, and you go home, and then there you were within the same thing that you left. But that's not what we're doing here. We give that undivided attention to people, and it's super powerful.
that's amazing. As you were talking, and I'm sipping on my broth here, I was thinking about it sounds like a detox. You're talking
Hmm.
about the food. So even it's like separating from the screen, separating from the everyday, being in nature, having food that they probably, as men, probably, I wonder why that is. So all this junk stuff that it's being fed, and if you watch TV, the commercials and all that stuff. So how is the environment different?
Well, first of all, no phones. I collect them, and I'm telling you, this is no, I'm not kidding. These phones are like heroin. They really, really are. They built them like that. They're super addictive. You got to see guys like by the end of the night. Oh, can I have my phone back? I'm like, bro, we it was not a military camp, but if you ready to let go, then this is where it's at. Let go of that. Then there's the food aspect. We have eaten meat in some of these men's retreats. We're not against totally about that, but we try our best to stay plant based. Why? Meat, for myself, and I'm sure for other humans too, make us more aggressive. You see,
Mm,
more, like, "Grrr," see, but plant based brings your vibration back to the earth. to that, to hear the messages of the planet, to get back to that vibration. You see, so some guys think like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. You trust me, you can. The food is delish. Everything, all sorts of hummus and spreads. There's bread and grains and legumes and salads and all of that. There's fruits, nuts, and lots of food. Trust me, we have feast in these things. So no fasting unless you want to, because some men do, or they do intermittent fasting too for a portion of the day, which there's science, clear science. Look that up, intermittent fasting. So there's that. Then there's the seclusion, right? The location where we're at, you could scream at the top of your lungs and no one is going to hear you. That's how separate we are from the next living quarters. I mean, you could barely see them, they're that far. So that's the beauty. You are there in nature, separate. There's a fireplace. There's a huge deck out and back with that amazing view that we did that interview, that chat rather, man. If yeah, anybody's interested, look that one up. Um, so there's this aspect of it too. And then you see that men, they come in a little bit tight, hey, how you doing, bro? What's going on? And they give the half hug, right? You see women, they always go, ah, but you always see, right? See men, they always put the arm to block them like that. And hey, what's going on, man? Like, I'll let you in, but not too much. Not too much. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You see? But that drops once we go before the day's end. Guys are open, sitting by the fires, telling their story, who they are, why they do it, why they're here, what called them, what they're ready to let go of. Their intentions are set. So this is the environment that they're stepping into.
That's amazing. It just sounds like such a beautiful reset for them as we are in these times where more leaders are needed, but not only leaders, healed leaders, which there's not that many of it. There's many are rising, but there's many infinite amount of leaders. But a healed leader, you have experienced it. It's a beautiful, humbling thing to be in the presence of someone that has taken the time to separate and
Mm.
go gather with other amazing men and be vulnerable and be present. So as we're talking about these things, I'm excited because you have yet another one coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course. Before I do, I want to tell you that there are some men that they come and they're quiet most of the time. They're listening too. So it's all right. Some guys might hear this and go, "Oh man, I don't want to be telling my personal stuff. Ain't nobody's business. I'm not about that." You don't have to be about that. Just come, listen, take it in. You see, we're writing things down because there's power in writing. The spells are being made. You're spelling. You see, you're sitting by the fire. You're receiving counsel, from other men that have went through things that we've lost that in our society. When was the last time you sat in the council of men? Yeah, you might think of your man, your dad, or an uncle, and that's too far and few in between. You either see them in the holiday parties or in the funerals, and this is not the environments that you want. So we have one that's coming up on February the 20, 21, and 22. It's a short, intensive time in order to detox from all of these things that normally we carry and we don't even know that we're carrying. It's located in Newport, New York, which is approximately about an hour and a half from where we're located, which is North Bergen, New Jersey, which is, just to give you some idea, we're like 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, of Midtown, and Washington Heights. So we're like closer to action, but not too close. So for us to drive from here, it takes about an hour and a half to get up to Newport's. And there's other brothers now that are responding in that immediate area, all around there, from Woodstock to what is it, Rosedale or something like
Yeah.
that. And yeah, they're responding. The last one we had was in December. It was sold out. There was a waiting list because they can see the value of this and that men are open to these things. We're not trying to sell anything to nobody. It's not about that. I'm not doing that. That's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. This is about being open to these things and saying, hey, I'm going to give it a try. At least I'm going to give it a go, man. This is something that is for me, at any price. How can I not afford it? This is the mindset that we need to be thinking about when things come up that are for your benefit. To get clear of all of that dark energy, that negative thing, whatever it is. We put words on it, you feel it. You're walking around like, man, I go to the gym. I'm eating, I sleep, I go to the club, I have a few drinks, I got friends, and still nothing is working for me. I can't seem to level up. I can't seem to move up financially. I can't seem to be happy constantly in my house, in my life. My kids, the stress is on me all the time. I can't get this break of freedom. You see?
Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's the place where we're at. It's called the Stone Mountain Farm. Like I mentioned before, 250 acres of land. It's absolutely beautiful. It's mystical. It's magical, the land. You see, the people who are the stewards of the land, they're open to these things. They created a Stonehenge, right? It's a calendar that's aligned with the stars. They put these mega stones in this circle. It's quite impressive when you see it. And then you walk the land and there's a waterfall. And we were in December and it was freezing, and all the men with their mind racing, like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. And we're hiking up there and I could just almost hear them. It was silent, but I could almost hear them. But one by one, each man got stripped down while we're drumming and chanting, and they go in with their shorts in the water, and they come out alive. They've never felt alive. These are some of the things that we're hearing from the brothers.
That's amazing. I could see it. You were describing every activity,
Yeah,
and I saw you guys walking down. It was amazing. So thank you for that.
yeah,
As
of
you were
course.
talking, like, this word that totally made up, but it makes total sense to me. This is an opportunity. This is not an
Mm,
opportunity for everybody, but it's for people that are open and that and they're ready. This, like you said, this is you're not trying to convince anybody. This is about I'm ready to be or to go back to the man that I was created to be, to the man that to the caliber of man. Because that's the thing. There's many males out there, many males. Men are working on it. Okay, there's a difference. Male is just how you were born a boy, but a man, it's someone that has decided to
huge
go through the
difference.
process, huge, to go through the process of healing, accepting his responsibilities, and being open to direction from other amazing men and women as well. So I am so glad that
Yeah.
you're doing this work. I'm not glad that you went through what you went through, but I'm glad that you were able to use what you went through to so you can be. And I think that's what it comes to the safety they feel with you is because you're not coming from up here. You're not coming from like, well, man, I always had it together. So you must listen to me. You're like, dude, I've been down here. I
Right.
know what you're going through.
Exactly. Exactly. When you think of other ancient cultures, right? Like the big one that most people think of, like the Spartans, they were young boys, young, and they were put out into the wilderness.
Mm.
At night, they had to sleep there and come back and bring the killed animal back to the doorstep, or else they were not coming back in. And there's many different ancient cultures. Even in the Amazon, some of these things still go on. At young ages, boys are put out there in the wilderness alone to sleep, find their own shelter, get their own food, gather, and all those things. We don't have that. We have nothing like that now. Nothing. We live in this soft society. I know that this has been repeated time and time again, but it's a fact. I bought a lamp the other day. The lamp came with the remote control. Like, how lazy can you can't get up and turn on the light? Oh my God. It's crazy. So it's these spaces where men come back and say, hey, I need some guidance too. I do. That would make my life better. That would make my life more stress free. I could be happy. I mean, really happy. I mean, Kat, there was a time when I looked in the mirror And I don't wish this upon anybody. I looked in the mirror and I told that image that I looked at, I don't even know you.
Mm.
Who are you? I said, man, I'm that lost that I don't even know who that. It was that little moment right there, that really set things off. And it is true. I've been to the dark, dark depths. I told you my own man left when I was 9. So the teenage years, the streets were waiting for me. I fell into abusive chemical dependency and alcohol, and I was abusing relationships and finances. I ended up homeless. I've been there to the dark, dark areas. I hurt people, I hurt myself, and some people didn't make it out of those situations. That's just the fact of it. They just didn't. Why did I? I don't know why. But I am here. That's the fact. I can't get around that. I'm here. And now that I'm here, I'm saying, hey, you need help? I know you do, because I needed help. I wish there was somebody that came to me at that time and told me. And maybe there was. Maybe I didn't want to hear it, but maybe this is a message for someone who's listening right now and say, hey, he's talking to me. Yeah, yeah, let's go. I want to know more. Call me, text me. I'm an open book. My number's out on the internet. Our address. We're the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. Omziel. Yes.
That's amazing. I love when you were talking, and it just gave me this a glimpse of how life is before and after. So I want to ask you because I want to share how life is, the beauty of the after, especially when you're being so low. So for Amanda's listening today, and you have given a very short version of where you have been. Again, we have a very detailed version of this conversation. We'll tag it in the description of this episode. But I want you to talk about today. How is life today for you as a man?
If I could tell you, and sometimes I've told this story to people, and it's not really a story, it's just the isness of it, right? But I get these visions sometimes that people are looking at me like, man, come on, bro, you got to be making that up, man. I'm not making it up. I tell you right now, I am the star of my own movie. I'm the director, I'm the editor. You see, I have the reins. I'm driving this thing. I'm in this action movie with the sound, the sound music in the background playing. Like I'm the action figure. I am. Yeah, sure, I make mistakes and I yell at the kids or say something to my wife, or yeah, and I didn't do this other thing, or maybe I did too much of this and I said something, or maybe I should have said and I didn't. Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of it. But the great thing is that I'm seeing it. That's the difference now. I can see that. And I also see that little voice too. You see? Right? Because oftentimes, when you get a thought and you hear something, you go, I'm going to go to the store. And you get up, you go, yeah, I'm going to the store. But who said that? Who said it? Who? You go, oh, well, that was me. No, it wasn't you if you heard it. Come on now. You heard that voice. You see? Let's be aware of that voice because we're pure consciousness. This is something that it took me time to learn. Consciousness doesn't speak. Consciousness is quiet. It's the observer. It uses the language to express itself. You see, but that other thing that we develop as kids, we develop it like in the first 7 years or so. It's this thing. You see kids fight and they get back together and not us. Somebody say something slick to us and we're walking around for months. Man, you believe what this guy told me? Like, really? It's just that voice. So once you start recognizing that voice, and here I am in my happy mood, I'm in my good tone, I'm in my vibration, then the voice creeps in. Oh, remember that thing you did? Remember when they hurt you? Remember, oh, you didn't care how you treated that person. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, wait a minute. I see you. I see you. You're obvious, bro. You see, you're not going to control me. I'm in control here. And that's the difference. That's the ticket right there.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. And talk to me about your everyday life. I know you're very disciplined. Like you have your family and your kids. I want them to see the picture of what's possible. What's that we got it before, but what is it your life now?
Right. Thank you so much. And sometimes I get into these deep stories, but I do want to share that part. I do, because this part of my life may come off a bit like braggadocious, but it's not. I'm not making videos of me doing all these things because I'm not a trainer. You're not gonna come here, and I don't have a gym like that. It's not. I'm not. This is for me. It's about me. I don't care who sees what I do or what I don't do. Like Mother Teresa said, at the end of the day, it's between you and God. That's it. So before, as you already know, as you could imagine, I was super lazy, binge watching TV and, you know, all kinds of things and abusing and taking in chemicals to try to have this coping mechanism, smoking something or going to the local bars and these type of things, But my life is totally, totally different. From the foods that I eat to the places I go and the music I hear, it's all different. And some people look at me and they go, "Oh man, how could you do that, bro? I didn't wake up one day and be like this. It took me time to learn what kind of foods do I like that are plant-based. Let me keep trying different things like that." So, breath work is about 10 or 15 minutes. I try to make that a non negotiable. There's tons of benefits, super benefits. Help to alkaline the blood in your body. It expands your life. You're getting oxygen down to different organs in your lower dantian, where your fire resides, things like that. The sacral chakra and all of these buzzwords, right? I'm from Brooklyn, so sometimes I'm hesitant about some of these words, but it's just an explanation. Then I'm up. Now I've seemed to have mastered my sleeping patterns. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Man, I got up a few days in a row. It was like a quarter to 4. I'm just up. My body has adjusted to that. I get up, I put my sneakers on, my running gear, and I run. I run about 6.5 to 7 miles every day. Sometimes it's 3 times a week, four, sometimes it's seven, sometimes it's one or two. Just depends on what's going on during the day. And again, people might hear that and be like, "Oh, I can't do that." I had somebody tell me that the other day. I'm like, Yeah, you can. You know why? Because you just said you can't. You see? And if you say it and you believe it, then you're right. But if you believe and say that you can, then you can do it too. You know. But it took me time to do that. I ran a long time, like for run and walk for a mile. And then I did 2 miles for a long time, long time. And then I was like, come on, you gotta step it up, bro. Let's go. Push, push, push. And there I am, doing many miles. And I have bigger aspirations and goals. Those are personal things for myself, because what I often say is that we're sitting in a Ferrari, in a high performance vehicle. We are in a Ferrari Testarossa. We need to take it out for a run and a spin, check the oil, We're walking around waiting until a light flashes on when we're driving. Oh, I don't know what that is. I think I better check that out. Yeah, you might. You might want to check the tires and, and take it out for a spin. Then there's meditation. I try to make this also a non negotiable too. Why? Because I noticed that during my day, I'm more happier, I'm more content, I'm more at peace. When things come up and they try to F with me, I approach it with pause and I look at the situation more clearer and not be so reactive like most of us are, especially in a patriotic society. So people think, oh man, I gotta sit there. No. How about 1 minute? How about 2 minutes? How about 2 minutes? Put your phone with a little alarm, get in a comfortable position, excuse me, and then stay quiet and pay attention to your breath for 2 minutes. That's it. And then try 5 minutes as you go along. So there's also the meditation, which is huge. Meditation is recorded over 5,000 years, and it's probably been more than that. You know, and we could get into a whole thing about meditation too, but there's also the breath work goes along with the ice plunge. So we have a tub outside in the back, and again, I've gotten to this point where I just go back there, open it up, break the ice, get inside, put my watch on, time it for 2 minutes. There's tons and tons of science behind this. This is not a placebo. Oh, I'm the man. No, it keeps down the inflammation. It's great for mindset. It stimulates your activity, your creativity. It stimulates the reticular activating system that relies in the back of your skull. You look that up, and so that's my life now. You know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's a picture of all the things. And I know that you run the center with alongside your wife, one wife. That's a big change for you, right? From the old days, and you have a family, you
Yeah,
have two
yeah.
beautiful children. Yes.
Most definitely. Before I was a guy that I didn't want anybody in my house unless you had some liquor, some drugs, yeah, But other than that, call me first and don't come. No, I'm leaving. No, I don't want. But now we open our home to everyone. We turned our two-family home into the sanctuary that it already is. We do short-term rentals also here in the interim when other healing modalities are not taking place, other festivities and gatherings. So we're listed on Airbnb, and people come through and they do short-term staying here, right? They come from Korea, the UK, from Europe, all over, from Central America, South America, from Canada, and within the States too. And they get to experience some of our hospitality too. We bake them some homemade good stuff. The wife is in the oven making good things, and we just show them that inclusiveness. No matter where you're from, we're open arms, and all inclusivity. No.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I continue to press because I really wanted to extract all that stuff because we have been conditioned that it's a bad manners or bragging. It's not bragging because you can say the perfect thing to the wrong person and they're gonna get it the wrong way. So you might as well be you. So I'm in the habit, as you were talking, and just reminded me of something that happened yesterday. I got this huge phone. It's got 1 terabyte of space, 1 terabyte. So I'm thinking I'm good, right? And I did not realize that on the cloud, it was saving all these pictures. I mean, years of pictures because I'm in the habit, or I was before moving to New York, of taking pictures of myself every
Mhm.
single day. And when I went to my phone to clean up so the cloud could, my devices can connect to each other because, that's one of my favorite features with the Mac. You can connect, you start something on your Mac, finish it on your iPhone. That's the best. So anyway, so now the cloud is not syncing. So I have to clean up and I'm like, okay, let me go clean up. And I did not realize thousands of pictures. So it took me hours to go through and this is gonna sound how it's gonna sound, and I don't give a shit. So I'm going to my phone and I'm like, oh my God, I love that picture. Oh my God, I love this picture. And it was hard. It was hard to delete them. And there was a moment where I just stopped and I relished the fact that I was loving on myself. Just like you, when you had that moment that you looked at yourself and you did not recognize who you were, there were 18 years of my life where I didn't know how to love this. So to go
Mm.
from not loving, no, I was not photogenic, and that's not true. That was not true. I'm very photogenic, but I was
Mm.
told that I wasn't. I have years of bad pictures, so I now swung all the way to the other side in a very beautiful way where I appreciate
Mm.
everything about cats. And I look at
Mm.
her, and when I look at her, and I think I showed you this before, when I look at her, I see this. I see
Mm.
this beautiful little girl and I love her and I see me and I'm like, I love this about me and I make songs about me and it's a awe. It's a celebration of the human that I am. I always say I was created on purpose with a purpose. And
Mm.
as much as I love myself
I
and I
love that.
walk around with this understanding that I am love, that I was created by love, and that my energy is the purpose of my energy is for others to be able to see themselves in my presence and for me to see them. I'm not going to stop sharing that. I'm not going to stop celebrating who I am. So I'm glad that you're doing this work because it shows other men that they can have this beautiful life with a beautiful wife they get to work with beautiful
Yep.
children that are
Mm-hmm.
growing up,
Yeah.
seeing this work. Like
Yeah.
you don't even have to teach your kids; they're living it. Day in and
Right.
day out
Right.
at the festival. I saw them; they were
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yep. Yep. We just allow them to be open. It's beautiful. Yeah. The kids are, especially if you have kids out there. Listen, you need to get it together for real. For real. You're the leader. They're looking at you for protection, for support, and all those things. I know there's many men looking at this and hearing and saying, but I'm at this job that I hate this job and I hate the people that brought, then get out of it. Yeah, but I can't because I got to pay the bills. Well, start getting out of it then. Start doing something, bro. Why? Because life goes by very fast, bro. See, it goes by in a flash. And that's another discussion for another time about, during the last days, and it's not easy for me to speak about this, but my father, when I saw him, like, I remember him telling me many times, like, oh, I can't be in this job no more. I hate it. I don't want to do this no more. And then, but soon enough, he was back there again. I was like, oh man, why does he do it? And oh, because the kids yeah, but there's so many other things you could do. You're leaving things on the table. And I know, Kat, that you're helping people with this financial, awareness and how they could, be self-sustaining in this area. This is much needed. It's no joke, man. It's no joke to be a slave in these areas. You don't want to do that. You don't want life to go by for it to go quickly. But if you just allow me that, I wanted to say about the pictures. First of all, you encouraged me in many ways, but I have my picture right over there. It's right there. I didn't want to take it off because I got all the monitors in the way. But yep, there I am. There I am. That school picture, the little boy, he's looking right at me, and I'm looking at him and going, "Yes, you got this, bro. We together." There's that one. Because we are majestic. Whoever made us, we didn't. We're not here to be fooling around and all that, and binge watching and getting money to pay this other guy, and don't be happy, and they break us off a little bit of vacation time. Oh, you can't stop thinking about those 2 weeks you're gonna do over there, and then when the time comes up, it's not the way you wanted it. They lured you in. Now you're drunk. You forgot what happened. You touched that woman while your wife was. It's ugly, right? So let's get out of that. The other thing you mentioned was the pictures. Every time I go running, I always take a picture of myself.
Mm.
And I have put out before, like, those clips that they see all the pictures and try to encourage guys, hey, come on, man, yeah, I could do it, you could do it too. But I try stay away from that because, again, I'm not a running trainer. I'm not selling a gym membership, bro. It's like, come on, let's go. We talk about do you. That's what we're telling you. If you need some guidance with that, we're here because we need help too. See, because it's a symbiotic relationship. There's no hierarchy when men step into these circles. I tell them, hey, yeah, I might know where the bathroom is and and where the fridge is and all that, but I'm learning too. I need help too. So when we're there by the fire crying, a lot of those tears are mine, cat. Oh, man, guys got to hold me down too, man. I kid you not.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And as we step into doing this beautiful work, we are healing and we are examples. We are encouragement. Something that I realized early this week that us doing the work and showing up encourages other people to heal. And that's why I'm so vocal about loving on myself and what that looks like and being unapologetically me. Like I'm talking about like you can look at this is like my suit. Okay, this is my new suit.
The
This is
costume,
my
I love it.
signature, is my custom, right? This is my suit. And I printed new business cards. I'm wearing it. And I wish that I had done this before. But I love color and jewelry and stuff. So I blinged it out and somebody was saying, "Oh my God, that's so much." And I'm like, "Well, that was one person, right?" And I was like, "That's your opinion. I'm so glad that you don't have to wear it. I'm wearing it, and I love it. I have Panther. I mean, it's blinked out, right?" Talk to somebody else. The first thing they said, "Oh my God, I love all your pins," and I'm like, "Oh," and I joked and I said, "Not too many, right?" And they're like, "Well, you can actually add more." And this is depending on where you put
Mm.
yourself. The right person is never gonna think you're too much. The wrong person, you're gonna do 1% of who you are, and they're gonna think that you're doing the most. So please know that it's in this space, as long as I can, I am going to share what it looks like when you do the work. Yeah, I'm gonna share the other stuff, but we have a lot of that. That you can go to many places and you're gonna get that. People are telling you left and right what doesn't work or the negative stuff. But here we're gonna talk about what it looks like on the other side. And I'm glad that I can bring people like you to the healed. in cash flowing podcast show because
Mm.
here we are leading by example, encouraging people by doing the work. So you're running every day, you post on that picture, you show them what it looks like. So I'm right behind you. So I'm gonna be 50. I know that maybe you're a little older, maybe younger, I don't know, but I'm gonna be 50
Don't worry
in
about
May.
that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it.
I'll be
But
50
yeah,
in May.
yeah,
And I'm like,
58, 58.
they want to tell you what 58 or 50 looks like. You don't get to tell
Right.
me what that looks like. I
Exactly.
can look like
Exactly.
I'm 30.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy. Easy.
But easy on the outside. But we're doing the work
We're
to do
doing the
that, right?
work. I know. Because I've had other brothers too. I tell them, yeah, I'm 58. Why? No, get out of here, bro. No, I don't believe it. I'm like, yeah, why? Probably because most guys my age, their belly is sticking out so far they haven't seen their private parts in decades. You see, but I'm putting in the work. I'm not starving myself. No. Yeah, I do practice intermittent fasting and stuff like that because the science is there. Our gut is not meant to be taking in all these foods, eating 5 meals a day, and let's get away from that. So it's the early mornings, it's the runs, it's the breath work, it's the ice, it's the taking the stairs when I could have took the elevator. I'm in the park with the kids. You seen the parents on the side, they're on the phone scrolling and all that. I'm looking at them like, man, you missing it over here. I'm jumping and swinging, and I got other kids looking at me like, you're supposed to be with the scrollers over there. I'm like, no, I'm with you guys. Let's do it. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah,
Hmm.
I never would have thought that you were older. I was thought you younger or older because I thought you were in your late 40s, maybe. And I
Yeah.
mean, they always say black don't crack, so that's another benefit
That's
that
what's
we
up.
have as
Yeah.
being island people, right?
Melanin.
That's
I
real.
know. We
That's
got it.
real.
We
But
got it.
also, it's the doing the work. It's if we can reverse the aging process and the damages
Yes.
that the lifestyle that has been in the past. And this is yet another benefit of doing this work that you look radiant.
I do want to mention also too, right? I've said many things, and thank you again for the opportunity for me to share my story and my life and all that. But I also want to mention that there are times that I eat the bag of nachos, or I eat the ice cream too, or I go out with the kids and I go, yeah, I'm gonna have a nice, kale wrap with some cucumber. When I get there, but like, man, give me the fries and throw some cheese on it, and give me the nachos too. I want to taste that, and the chimichangas. Yeah. And then I come home, then I'm kicking myself too. You see, because then I don't feel right. I don't feel energetic. I don't feel so. That's why I try my best to stay away from those things. But I do give in too. And sometimes I don't go running. Yeah, I sleep in and I'm up at 9 o'clock and I already missed half the day. Now I'm rushing yeah, it happens. But
It's a
those
balance.
things are
Yeah.
few in between, not the lifestyle where I used to live before. And oftentimes I'm out there running in the morning, and you see these people. They're running from their house with the bag and the suitcase and the hat, and where the bus. Oh man, out there standing on line, freezing, and like nah, that's not the lifestyle. You don't want that. You don't want that. You want to put yourself in purposeful stress. You see, like running, meditating, cold water plunging, and those breath works and these other circles that we're doing. This is purposely putting yourself so you can grow. Not that chronic stress, the bills and the boss and the project. And I got to get this in on time. And no, we're not meant for that. We're not meant. This Ferrari is not meant for that.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And it's all a balance. And what I find when I have those things, it's a phantom memory because your brain remembers loving it, but that wasn't all you, that is now dead. So then I don't know if you experience that. Then you have that thing and you're like, oh, this is not how I remember it. Because the brain remembers it with pleasure. And the body is like, that's not the same body, it's not the same mind. So it's a beautiful reminder. I'm glad that it happens sometimes because it's like, oh yeah, I don't like that. Oh my
Yep.
God, I gotta update the files.
You
Gotta do a
update the
little bit
files.
of control alt delete for those that have Macs.
That's
And
right.
have
Right.
PCs with Macs is different, but you have to do a little control, a little updating of the files.
Yeah, update the software too, right?
Yeah.
Because humans have been compared to computers, because that's basically what we are. We really are. We have the hardware, and then we put in the software in here.
Yeah.
That way the machine can run right. But we need to update that. And some people, they don't update it. They go, oh yeah, last time I was in school was high school or college, and that's it. What book are you reading? I haven't read a book in a while. I'm just not a reader. I'm like, what does that doesn't even make sense, bro? We have to upgrade our knowledge. This world is changing at an enormous, increasing fast pace. You best to keep up. You best, because they're gonna run you over. Let's go. You'll be like, oh, I'm not tech savvy. Listen, we're all learning. Let's go. They make it in a way where you can learn. Do your videos, do your audio. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is that you want to do. Or you're helping someone with that. You got to learn that in order to help them too. You know? So
Yeah,
let's go. Let's go.
absolutely. It's beautiful. I know we can talk about all day, but before we wrap up, is there something that I did not ask you or that we did not talk about that you don't want the listeners to go before they hear it?
Mm, wow. Mm. I think it was just to stress on that point that you made earlier about we walk around thinking, what will people think of me? And we need to let that go. You need to have a huge bag of I don't give a fuck, and you hand it out to everybody. Dress the way you want to dress, run the way you want to dress, or run the way you want to run, or do what is it that you do. Do the yoga, do Tai Chi, take a class, learn that, sit in ceremonies, take a visit out to the nest and take one of those, things that the cat is doing, or yeah, give it that try. Don't worry about what people are thinking. You got that book inside of you, start writing that book. Yeah, there's a billion books on the market. Yeah, but not yours. Your book is not out there. That one thing, if you know anything about the creative mind, you know, a creativity needs to be born and it will use you for it to be birthed. But only if you're open. If you're closed, it'll just move on to someone else. So that's one of the things I wanted to
That's
say.
beautiful. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your willingness to be vulnerable.
Yes, before we go, I did want to mention a few things that we have coming up, if that's
Yeah, of
okay.
course, of course.
Perfect. So we are the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. We have a couple of things, these offerings that are coming up. The first one I wanted to mention is in February, which is not too far from now on the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. That's the Wind Horse Rising Men's Experience. It's taking place in Newport, New York. Let me know if you're interested. This is an offering that we're having. If you feel the calling, come on through. No, you won't regret it. Then there's also on March 14th and 15th. It's a one night, a full day and night to the next day. This is a women's cacao ceremony at the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. It's led by my wife, Aziel. If you know her, you already know. Super compassionate, super tapped in. I mean, there are miracle things that are happening here. Not to brag again, but come through, you see there's transformation happening here. That's on March 14th. On June the 13th is our big Purple Sage Festival. Yay! This is where everybody gets together here. Musicians, artists, vendors, healing modalities, all sorts of conversations and trading, business ideas, spoken word, or ideas that you want for new things. And people are there to trade secrets and tap in. So that's taking place on June 13th there at the Stone Mountain Farm in New Paltz, New York. And then the other one I wanted to mention is on June the 26th, 27 and 28. Now, this is a new thing. This is a father-son retreat that we are doing. Now, fathers and sons are welcome to come. Some of them have already secured their spot. Why? Because this is not taking place anyplace else.
Mm.
I don't see this. Look at it, look around. I'm sure there's people that are doing it, but we're doing it here. It's where fathers, men can come with their sons. I have my son. He's 8. He's going to be 9. He needs that. He needs to see the counsel of other men, how we move together. Take them on those hikes, those sacred walks, having those workshops where son can face father in a safe environment and speak to dad and tell him, hey, I don't appreciate that. Or, hey, I love this. It's helping me, things like that. And there'll be food, and we're gonna bring out the air mattresses and fireside chats. It's gonna be in June. The weather's gonna be great, so we're gonna have these light competition, with father son, and it's gonna be great fun, great fun. So that's on June 26th, 27th, 28th. Also taking place on the Stone Mountain Farm in New Paltz, New York.
Oh, thank you so
Yay.
much for sharing. We're gonna make sure to link your website so they can go check all these amazing events that are coming up and all the ones that are coming after because this is gonna be on forever so they can go and connect with your wife and your beautiful wife and the amazing work that she is doing by
Mhm.
herself and with you as well, which is beautiful. Thank you again for being here. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing your wisdom, and I look forward to having you again on the show.
Me too. Let's do it. Thank you. Peace and love.
You're very welcome. There you have it, another episode of the Healed and Cash Flowing podcast show where I bring people that I admire that are doing tremendous work. If you take anything from today, it was said many, many times over. Do you unapologetically do the work, show up, make money, because when people like you make money, you change the world. The end. Have an amazing day. Please know that I love you, that I'm rooting for you, and I'm gonna see you super duper soon.
Peace.